Tammy Bruce is president of the Independent Women's Voice, and if there were a genuine women's march, she should be leading it, in my view.
Well, there you go.
Tammy, what's going on here?
It's more than just anti-Semitism or Jew hatred. There's also a lot of apparently anti-gay sentiment that has arisen. Not unusual for the far left, of course. They're bigots, and that's the problem here. So it's also not unusual that this is happening at all, in that you've got the left traditionally does this. They co-opt important issues to a society that they're invading. They co-opt it, and then they write it to death. And right now, the Women's March clearly is not now about women's issues at all. They're complaining about white nationalism, white men. It's about race. And it's really just the carcass now of what was for a women's movement. And this is what the left does. And now it's a warning. This is not an isolated incident. It's beginning to try to move into the Democratic Party. And this should be a warning to everyone that identity politics, this is inevitably where it goes. Because in order to be proud of your identity, your personal identity, you've got to be better or different from someone else. And it invites the need for bigotry and for isolating the other individual who is unlike you.
Well, you said they're not just anti-Semitic, they're also anti-gay.
Yes.
Louis Farrakhan, one of his many fascinating statements was that the Jew is responsible for the feminizing of the black man.
Oh, lovely.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, I don't think. But if there is, you don't want the Jews having a monopoly on it. I won't pretend to understand what he's getting at there. Linda Sarsour is a strong supporter of this. She's refused to back down.
Correct.
She's a great believer in Sharia, so there's no reason why she would have any particular interest in women's rights or gay rights or anybody else's rights. And likewise, Tamika Mallory is a big supporter.
Well, this is a classic hijacking. And there is could be I saw this emerging when I was in Now and on the left 25 years ago. The problem, and I have a lot of respect for Ms. Shook, but she's a retired lawyer, lives in Hawaii. The power of the internet. This started with a Facebook page, which is fabulous. I disagree with her on all of her issues that she's espoused on Facebook. But I have a lot of respect for her for saying this. She wants them all to resign, to step down, to try to save this movement. But of course, this will always occur unless you're there and ready to push back, because this is like a virus that occurs with the left, not just the American left, but around the world. This is what they do. They want to divide. They want to disrupt. And that's how they're doing it with this. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done. At least for normal liberals, this is a kind of thing that you must stand up against, because otherwise it's going to consume everything that matters to you.
Well, you say normal liberals. Isn't it the case, Tammy, that at some point there's a reckoning that the identity politics coalition is basically incoherent? You know that in parts of Amsterdam and London, as those places have Islamized, the gay bars close and move out. That in the end, you've got to pick and choose your identity politics, and maybe Ms. Sarsour represents where the energy is in the Democrats.
Well, identity politics is inherently not a liberal position. Liberalism is about allowing individuals to live the lives that best suit them. You can't do that by identifying just based on an identity. It's got to be about ideas, right? And inspiration and values for a larger society and culture. That's the classical liberal framework. That's the American sensibility.
That's like 50 years out of date in the Democrats.
Well, it is, but it exists with a base of liberals. I'm convinced of that, and you can still take your party back. I want a loyal opposition to the Republicans, because it makes the country better and stronger. And as a result, conservatism then would still prevail, because liberals wouldn't be afraid of it, because they also want people to be free, and it takes money and success and the free market to be free.
Fabulous. That's Tammy's Thanksgiving's greetings to the U.S. Democratic Party.
And my cranberry sauce will get you right through everything.
The Democrats will be coming around to Tammy.